Pony Tales, read by Scribbler. It's Hard to Move On by Adam Grayson. It took a week for Ponyville to start to adjust to the sudden changes after the attack. The nightmare took out a couple of buildings and generally terrorized many of the ponies. An unfortunate few were locked in the schoolhouse, and it acted like a prison. That is, until Twilight Sparkle and the other elements saved every pony. The ponies of Ponyville did not enjoy that fact like you would think. The nightmare wasn't a pony who wished for revenge or had a misguided cause. It was much worse. The nightmare was Fair Rarity. The element of generosity had a weak moment and was taken over by the nightmare. No pony is quite sure what exactly the weak moment was. With tears in her eyes, Twilight led the others to hit their friend with the elements. After the fight was finished, the group was heartbroken to find the body of Rarity, though none was hurting as much as her mare friend. Throughout the week that followed, Fluttershy didn't leave her cottage, let alone feed her animal friends. Angel Bunny realized the intensity of the situation and didn't do anything that would upset her more. He even went so far as to cuddle her. If it weren't for Rainbow Dash, Angel and Fluttershy would have starved. Rainbow cooked for them both and let her foalhood friend cry on her shoulder. Angel appreciated the extra help. There was no way he could help her heal by himself. The first few days were the hardest, Rainbow was sure. Fluttershy either cried all day or slept, usually crying herself to sleep. She barely got the suffering mare to eat. After the third day, Fluttershy started to come out of her shell a little, talking with her friend, and finally feeding some of the animals, which Rainbow had been poorly doing. Then, Sweetie Belle came over with something for Fluttershy. The young filly and her parents were clearing out Carousel Boutique, and they thought the Pegasus would like to have it. It was a simple black box. Inside were 2 earrings donning Rarity's cutie mark. Upon realizing that her love was planning on marrying her, Fluttershy broke down again, ruining all of her former process. Fluttershy knew her friend was trying to help. She honestly did. Rainbow just wanted to help her move on, and deep down, she knew it was the best thing to do. But whenever she would even think about trying, Rarity's face would flash across her eyes, or the fashionista's voice would whisper in her ear. She just couldn't stop thinking about her beloved. It had all happened so fast that dreadful day. The 5 elements found Rarity in the marketplace of Ponyville, a shiver-inducing laugh filling their ears. They tried to talk her down, convince her to stop before things got out of control, but that failed. Reluctantly, they tried to take her down by force, but Rarity proved too strong for them. She tossed them aside like a ruined piece of fabric. When that failed, Fluttershy thought maybe a kiss would bring her back. Maybe love. She was wrong. Twilight knew they needed Celestia's help with the situation and teleported them right into Celestia's throne room. At first, the princess was upset with the unannounced visit, but after everything was explained, Celestia got serious. She told the elements they needed to temporarily replace Rarity as the element of generosity. Fluttershy was aghast and suspicious at the way the princess had said temporarily, but she couldn't question Celestia. Applejack and Pinkie already had a pony in mind and hurried out to find her. Princess Celestia asked Rainbow and Fluttershy to wait outside while she spoke to Twilight alone. They were still talking when Applejack and Pinkie returned with Octavia Melody. Fluttershy knew the mare from around. She played the gala when they went, and she had seen a few of the shows Octavia performed in. The two Earth ponies both vouched for the musician, each knowing her personally, and assuring the Pegasus ponies that Octavia was just as generous as Rarity, with time, objects, and herself. Twilight and Celestia finally emerged from the room, and, recognizing Octavia, took Applejack's word about her friend. Twilight explained to the girls that Octavia would take Rarity's place as generosity, and they had to use the elements of harmony on their friend. She also assured Fluttershy that Rarity would not be harmed. She promised. They rushed back to Ponyville and found Rarity harassing the town, claiming to overthrow Celestia and rule Equestria the way it deserved. Upon seeing Octavia, she laughed at their plan, telling her friends they should give up and join her. How could they think to replace her? The elements of harmony were not so simple as that. She wanted Fluttershy to be her queen, and her friends to be her generals and other high-ranking ponies. They denied, and she attacked. Twilight gave the word, and then Rarity was gone. Fluttershy felt her heart shatter into so many pieces, she was sure no pony could put it back together. The timid Pegasus was no stranger with death. Her father had passed away when she was just a foal, and she'd lost her animal friends when their wounds were too much for even her. This time was different. It was a different feeling, and she could do nothing while it ate away at her. She didn't want to get out of bed, but she knew her friends were worried. Rainbow Dash left her home 8 days after her loss. She couldn't put off weather duty any longer, otherwise she would be fired and unable to take care of herself. She had used her bits to pay for the grieving mare's groceries and had none left. The yellow mare felt horrible when she found out, but her friend refused to take her own bits. Dash also mentioned she had to go and visit a friend, but wouldn't clarify who when Fluttershy asked about her meaning, which led to the Pegasus walking towards Ponyville to check on the news and see how her friends were doing. Letting them know she was okay would be a bonus, not to mention a flat-out lie. She hadn't seen them since the funeral, which she had almost missed. Once it was over, she flew back to her bed and proceeded not to move for another few days. Ponies kept stopping to ask her how she was doing now because of this, and while she appreciated their intent, it was quickly becoming annoying. Not that she would tell them that. She almost made it to the boutique when she heard a familiar voice call her name. She turned around to find Applejack and Pinkie Pie approaching her, the farm pony's signature hat atop the party pony's poofy mane. It was a wonder it was still balanced on her head. Ever since the two became a couple, it wasn't an odd sight to see Pinkie wearing her mare friend's hat. It was the second piece of evidence that they were in it for the long run, the first being the house they built halfway between Ponyville and Sweetapple Acres. It was a nice place, and every pony had helped. Even Rarity ignored the dirt because she was happy to see her friends in their bliss. It was sad that she wouldn't see their wedding, though. She did get to see the engagement earrings donning the other's cutie mark, however. Fluttershy forced a small smile at her friends.
Oh, hi, Applejack, Pinkie.
She hoped they didn't question her too much about her false happiness. She wasn't sure how long she could lie to them. The normally upbeat party pony was calm when she spoke.
We haven't seen you since the funeral. How are you feeling? How are you girls?
Pinkie opened her mouth to speak, but was cut off by her other half.
We're good, considering what's happened. Look, Shy, we owe you an apology, leaving you out of the decision like we did. It was wrong of us.
I know. I forgive you, Applejack. But can we not talk about this now, though?
I'm sorry, Sugar Cube, but I had to tell you now. I had to say it.
Pinkie nodded.
We feel awful. I mean, it was Twilight's idea to keep you out of the loop, and we didn't like the idea, but she kept saying that if you knew, you'd stop us, and it was the best thing for Equestria. She hated the whole situation, and it was Celestia's idea to start with, and then she will...
Applejack put her hoof in the pink pony's mouth.
I'm awful sorry about that. You know how Pinky is.
Fluttershy gave her a genuine smile.
I know. It's okay. She's just being Pinkie Pie.
Pinky spoke around the orange mare's hoof before the hoof returned to the ground.
We wanted to come over and check on you. Rainbow said it probably wasn't best, and with Octavia moving into the Carousel Boutique... What?
Applejack face-hooved, while Fluttershy gaped at Pinky.
Oh, didn't you hear? She's moving to Ponyville to be closer with us. That's great, Applejack, and I really missed her, with what Applejack knowing her since she was just a filly, and how many parties of vinyls I saw her at. No, she can't do that.
Now, don't get worked up, Fluttershy. It'll be alright.
No, Applejack, it isn't alright.
Applejack put a hoof on her friend's shoulder.
Just give her a chance, Sugar Cube. Don't you think Rarity would have won?
Rarity isn't here, AJ. No pony knows what she would have wanted, but it doesn't matter now because she's gone.
With a determined look in her eye, Fluttershy spun on the spot and ran towards Carousel Boutique. Pinky wanted to give chase, but Applejack blocked her.
Shouldn't we go after her, Applejack?
Pinky asked, concerned. Applejack shook her head.
Nah, we can't do that, Honeysuckle. I ain't seen Fluttershy look like that since she stared down that dragon. It's best to let her go. Besides, Octavia can handle herself. You know how she is. If there's any pony that can help Shy, it's gotta be her. Come on, let's go back to the house.
Fluttershy could see the movers down the street, moving boxes and instruments into the boutique. Into her boutique. How could they let some pony move into Rarity's building? It was too much too soon, and completely inappropriate. They should leave it alone, how it was before. As she approached, she could hear some pony shouting.
Don't drop that! There is very sensitive equipment in that box, and I will keep the bits from your pay if you break anything.
I'm sorry, it slipped. I won't break nothing.
I would very much appreciate it.
The grey mare was standing outside the boutique, directing 3 big earth ponies as they carried her things into the building. The building she had no business in.
Octavia!
The mare in question turned towards the call.
Oh, Fluttershy, dear! How are you? I heard you haven't come out of your cottage lately.
You're moving into Rarity's home?
What? This is Rarity's?
Catching the look and tone the Pegasus was giving her, the musician took a moment to get her thoughts together.
Fluttershy, why don't we go up to the bedroom to talk? My good stallions, just sit the boxes in the middle of the room and the instruments near the walls. I'll set it all up later on.
Without another word, the mare walked upstairs. It only took a passing thought for Fluttershy to follow her. The bedroom, Rarity's bedroom, was cleared out, and now the room was a different layout. The furniture was unknown to Fluttershy, presumably Octavia's. Fluttershy assumed this was the first room the movers had tackled.
Fluttershy, do you have a problem with me?
Octavia asked, her voice calm. Fluttershy nodded.
You're trying to replace her.
Purple eyes widened at the accusation.
What?
You're the new element of generosity. You're moving into her home. My friends love you and they hardly know you. Except for Applejack and Pinky, apparently.
Pinky frequented Vinyl's parties, and as for Applejack, my family is good friends with hers. I've known her for so long now, she's like a sister to me.
There was a fondness in her voice as she thought of memories, but the fond tone was replaced with a mix of sincerity and being insulted.
Believe me, when I tell you the last thing I want to do is replace Rarity. She was a good mare, and I'm deeply sorry about what happened.
Every pony is sorry, but none of them know how I feel.
I know how you feel.
Fluttershy shook her head.
You couldn't know.
She recoiled when she was met with a glare.
I understand you're hurting. I get it. But you do not have to take it out on me. I realize I'm the one to vilify here. That does not mean I'm going to let you stand there and tell me how I couldn't know how you feel. I've lost my mare friend too, Fluttershy.
What?
Why on Equestria do you think you haven't seen Vinyl around anymore? That Pinkie Pie doesn't talk about any of our parties or why No Pony talks about our tracks. She passed away! She got really sick, and the doctors couldn't help her. I watched her go, told her I loved her, and how much I would miss her. Vinyl told me to move on and be happy with life before she passed on.
Tears filled the musician's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She saw the guilt in the blue eyes before her, but didn't stop.
I didn't at first, much like yourself. My music suffered, I didn't eat or go anywhere. Applejack came to Canterlot to cheer me up, and I cannot tell you how long she stayed with me until I finally realized I was letting Vinyl down by not moving on with my life.
I'm sorry about Vinyl. This is different, though. You killed my Rarity.
So did you.
Octavia countered.
You gotta say goodbye. You knew that she was going to pass, and Rarity was just gone.
Tears flowed down Fluttershy's cheeks as she looked at the floor. A gentle hoof lifted her gaze.
I know that we essentially killed Rarity. I'm sorry. If you could have talked to her beforehand, don't you think she would have told you that if you needed to do what you did to save Equestria, she would have told you to do so?
The Pegasus realized Octavia was right. Rarity would have sacrificed herself if it meant Equestria would have been safe from more harm.
She would have wanted us to do everything we could to avoid that.
You did that, dear. Twilight told me how you tried so many ways to save Rarity, but the nightmare was too strong.
I failed her.
Fluttershy's rump hit the floor, her eyes once again downcast, though this time the gentle hoof was ready.
You didn't fail her. You did what you could. She knew you loved her. I know you miss her, but I think you need to start moving on.
I can't forget her!
The Pegasus's wings flared as she snapped. Octavia shook her head.
That's not what I said. I said move on, not forget her. She wouldn't want you to mourn forever. You can miss her every day, think about her every hour, but you can't forget to keep going with your life.
I miss her so much. It's hard.
I know, but you have friends that will be there for you. I hear Rainbow's been with you since the first night. I'm sure any of your other friends would have done the same. You aren't the only one hurting Fluttershy. Think about Rarity's parents and her sister. What about Twilight and the others? They loved her too, in their own ways. They must miss her as well.
Octavia moved to gently stroke the pink mane of the crying mare.
I hadn't thought of that.
Fluttershy said guiltily. She didn't consider how her friends were feeling. She was selfish. She was a bad friend. She was...
Just take this 1 minute at a time. It'll be hard at first, but your friends will help you every step of the way. Even me.
You want to help me?
The grey mare sat beside her.
Yes. I know your heart is in the right place. I understand what you're feeling right now. I'll help you through it.
I don't know what to say.
You still think I'm trying to replace her?
Blue eyes locked on Purple, staring in disbelief. She had come to give this mare a stern talking to for replacing Rarity in Ponyville. But she still wanted to help? Before Fluttershy could respond, Octavia continued.
I promise you I'm not. I felt extremely uncomfortable when Mare said the only available property was Rarity's, and she didn't have a will, so the boutique went to the bank. If I could have chosen anywhere else to live, I would have. I would have even lived near Applejack, but a music store would not get much business there.
Music store? You're going to open a music store here?
Well, yes. I sell instruments, repair them, even play at important events, or wherever I am wanted.
I've always enjoyed music. Rarity took me to a few of your performances. You're wonderful.
Thank you, dear. I realize it will take you some time to be comfortable with me, but I'll help you with anything you need.
Fluttershy took a moment to herself to consider everything she had been told. In her grief, she had neglected many things. Her friends, her animals, her friends' feelings, and her own needs. Rarity would not be pleased to see her like this. She had to make her unicorn proud of her, live on for her, not constantly grieve. She sighed as she looked at the new elements of harmony.
It won't be easy.
Octavia nodded.
Sadly, no, it won't. I have faith in you, Fluttershy.
Thank you. I'm sorry I blamed you.
It's quite all right, dear. Would you like to help me settle in? Twilight will be here shortly to help me with the heavy objects. Maybe you can help me decide where I could put my furniture. Oh, what am I thinking? That's a terrible idea. I'm sorry.
Actually, Octavia, that sounds like a good idea.
She was met with a concerned look while Octavia spoke.
Are you sure? I'm moving into her home and moving things the way I want them. Changing her home.
I know. I should have helped them take her things out.
Octavia looked at the earrings.
I see you got what she wanted you to keep, though.
Fluttershy smiled slightly.
I did. I think this will help me.
If you're sure, dear.
I am.
Octavia stood and left the bedroom, going down the stairs and finding the movers had messed up her instructions. Fluttershy didn't immediately follow, instead stopping at the doorframe, turning to look back at the bedroom. She could still see where Rarity's furniture had been. Octavia's furniture was actually in much the same place. It was easy to imagine them as Rarity's. It was as if she wasn't truly gone. The Pegasus wiped at her eyes with a sad smile.
Goodbye, Rarity. I'll always love you.
We're here at the start, where the words fall apart, where language is lost in the wind. The syllables sway in an ancient ballet, the meaningless sounds that we sing. Sleep, baby, sleep, baby, sleep till the feeling is gone. Sleep, baby, sleep, baby, everything's new in the dawn. The faces and sounds where the truth goes to drown in the deepest expanse of the sea. Our dreams and our hopes are concealed in codes, and no one would dare hold the key. Sleep, baby, sleep, baby, sleep till the feeling is gone. Sleep, baby, sleep, baby, everything's new in the dawn.